It helps you learn how to use your center, learn how to push, move around your opponent, don't move your opponent around you, and you learn timing. Okay? There's a lot that you can get out of this. This came from Kogure, which came from Waseda University, their team, rather than something that Jamiki developed. When I talked to Miyaki, this was something that they came up with at the university a long time ago, just to get in the mood, I guess. Along with this an exercise called the Dynamic 11, which is a warm-up to kata that they practice a lot. So this is an exercise. Keep that in mind when you're doing this. Okay? We're going to start out. John, am I using you?
Yes.
Okay. Feet are parallel. You're going to hold your hands out, and he's going to grab both your wrists. Just walk up and grab it. From a static position, I want to move my body back until I disrupt his balance. I'm going to get him to come up on his toes. And as I step back, my hands are rising up normally. It's what they call a rope effect. Okay. His shoulder and my shoulder. As I step back, that naturally straightens. Okay? So we use that to get in position to push rather than thinking about lifting the arms. You want to get out of this mindset. You don't lift the arms. Everything you do is a push. Okay? So when I step back, I let our arms straighten. When I get to the point where he's up on his toes, ready to come forward, I move back just a little bit further. When he takes that step, is when I push. And I don't know if you can see it from the camera, but you do not push in a line. You're always going to push to one corner or the other. Okay? So, you're standing, you're relaxing. I move back, He steps, and I push. Okay? Do not pick your arms up. Do not push with a bent arm. You should be in a position where you're in a pushing posture when it comes time for his off balance. Okay? That's number one, a double push. Grab your opponent, come around and help you, or double push. Second one is just going to be a shomanate. You're starting out exactly the same way. Step back, but you break one hand free. Now, again, I don't know if you can see it on camera, but notice that I'm not pushing straight back, I'm pushing to a corner. Whether I do it left hand or right hand, it doesn't matter. And it doesn't matter which foot of his comes forward. Okay, as long as you hit a corner. Now, same thing, and I push straight back. John's being very, we're trying to figure out where it's supposed to go.
It wasn't nearly as off balance, but I couldn't do anything with my hand.
There you go. See the difference? He's going to run right over the top of me. Here. was off balance. The key points: relax your arms, let them straighten out, don't raise them, and think about pushing. The whole time you're thinking about pushing forward. Okay? And it doesn't matter if it's left or right hand. And until you get used to it, watch his feet. Okay? And it's not necessary to throw him each time as long as you get the off balance. If you get the off balance, you know you can throw him. Okay? Questions about the second one? A double push to the front. You've got a shomanate. Next one is tenchi nagi, which is called heaven and earth. And when the Japanese do it, they tend to push down with one hand and push up with the other. Well, that's still going back to using your upper body and your arms' strength to overpower your opponent. And if John is strong, locks me in place, doesn't let me do this, this falls apart. Okay? But if you relax, use your center, your hand stays in front of your center, or a better phrase, your center stays behind your hand. I'm going to move John, break his balance to my left. In order to do that, I move my center behind my left hand and I push out with my left hand. Now once John's off balance, I can step through his center and throw him. Okay? John is strong. If I'm using arms, this doesn't work. If I'm relaxing my center, turn my center behind my hand, and push, I'm no longer using my arms to fight him. I'm using my entire body to fight his arms. Okay. Now, we're going to go to this side. You can see it. I want to turn my center. I'm going to move to my right. So I want to turn my center behind my hand. I'm in a pushing posture with both hands. I push out. In. Notice this hand's up here. I'm not lifting it up. I'm pushing. But because his arm is straight, it's causing my hand to arc. It looks like I'm pushing down. But ask John what I'm doing. I'm pushing out.
He's pushing this way. I can feel it. He's pushing this way. And whenever I start to move, I'm pushing it down. Because I'm following him.
And once you get used to this, once you have done this a number of times, you can start here from static and come and do this. But you've got to get the concept of put your center behind your hand and then move. Okay? So to begin with, turn your center and then take the step, rather than just trying to do it from here. Once you get this concept down, it becomes much, much easier to flow with this. So for right now, turn your center behind your hand, take a step to the off balance. 4. Started out to the side with one hand. Pushing. This time you're going to use both hands. So instead of turning my center a little bit, I've got to get my center behind both hands now. I push straight out to the side with both hands, and then I step through his center. Okay. Most people have problems with this because they bend their, in this case, right arm. if I'm pushing to the left, whether it be in their left arm or if I'm pushing to the right. You've got to push out with both hands, and you've got to push out shoulder level. See how we had to take that step?
That's an awful fall.
Crazy.
And we're going to go this way. I move my center behind both hands. I'm not pulling my hand in front of my center. I'm moving my center behind the hand. Step out to the side and in through. And you push out shoulder level. Further than down.
I don't know if you take this as a compliment or not, but this is exactly what Harry told us about hip inversion, big pin type growth.
Exactly.
Get your center behind your stuff.
Exactly.
He uses stuff.
Get your center behind your stuff. Turn your stuff this way. Push your stuff out shoulder level. And then slip your stuff through your opponent. Cool. Okay?
Yeah.
Heaven and earth. Double push to the side. Okay? We've got Yushiro Wate next. Here. I want to move around him. And I'm going to go to this side. So in order to do that, I shift my center behind my hands. I push him off balance. Maintain that off balance. Come around behind him. You do not push straight back or pull straight back. You pull to the corner. Now, key point. Notice my hands are staying in a pushing posture all the way through. Here. I'm controlling him. Okay? You don't get to this position and do this. You get to this position and do this. Your center does the technique, not your arms. Okay?
No, yeah, I'm fine.
Okay.
I'm just
Alright,
putting
just
I'm putting
yawning,
it in.
okay.
Yeah, I'm putting it in with the rest of the lexicon.
You couldn't get the oxygen in the
Right,
technique.
I had to have more. I had to have more.
Okay. He gets into a pushing posture as soon as I touch him. He turns, pushes center behind his hand, pushes out shoulder level. Notice I'm off balance. I'm off balance. I'm gone. He pushed all the way through. And his center is what threw me, not his arms. Remember the walking. You had the window washing. Here. Now people get here and they think, well, I'm doing this wash on, wash off, like Karate Kid. You're not doing that. You're pushing out and you're turning your body. Pushing out, you're turning your body. There's a difference.
The first one is the simple step, and then
Simple off balance like it was
same
before.
foot turn out of the walk, then the ending movement of the walk.
Uh-huh. That's
Cool.
it exactly. Cool. Great. Exactly the same way. For Yushiro Wate, I move my center around his center. For a spinning arm bar, I'm moving my center around his arm. So we're going to start out here, shift my center, push out, shoulder level. I move around him, but I move around his arm. Notice that I'm in a pushing posture all the way through. See his weight on his left foot? Here. And then down. If you bend your arm, this does not work. I'm here, I'm pushing, and then I bend my arm to move around him. Suddenly everything collapses. He's right on top of me. Here's my center pointing that way. His center pointing right at me. Who has control? He does. So if you have a push, you maintain that push all the way through. The key point is when I come up to the elbow, people tend to bend this arm and then try to pull them around. You can't bend this arm. You have to push to get the weight on that foot. Push. And then bring them around. So here. Push out, shoulder level. Remember the arc of his hand? Here's his arc. I'm going to take his off balance beyond that arc. His off balance is still on that foot. When he turns, his weight is still on one leg. Here. Move him around. Questions? Yoshiroate, spinning arm bar. Okay. We've got two wakigatamis. You have a one-hand wakigatami and a two-hand wakigatami. We're going to do the one hand first. Now, you're going to think about this the same way that you did shomanate. Step back. Whichever hand that you want is going to be the controlling hand, but the free hand is still pushing. Here, push, 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 and I step into his arm. Step back, the arms straighten, I get into a pushing posture, I take him off balance until he falls into place. I'm going to lock his elbow. Here's his elbow right here. Lock his elbow with my elbow, and I'm pushing on the back of his knuckles. Now, if John tries to get out of this, he pushes, it locks it in harder. If he tries to pull, it locks it in harder.
I'm gonna play with the directions here, just so
Okay.
everybody knows that this sucks.
Now, notice that I'm not on his wrist.
You're on the
I'm
back.
on the back of his knuckles.
Right.
I want his fingers pointing up to the ceiling.
I'm gonna try to stand up. Oh, that's on the elbow.
Now, when he did that, I squeezed
Squeeze the elbow.
brought my elbow into my side.
About this way. Well,
You
I'm
get
giving up my
kodomawashi.
Yeah, I'm giving up my position too. It's on the wrist right now. It's not cool.
Mm-hmm.
Because you turn and roll. Ah.
Yep.
Okay, got that. Nice control.
And you do this with your center, not pulling in with your arm. You're going to do it on the left side. Here, I step back till I get into a pushing posture. I push, I push, I push, till he falls into place and I step into him. Lock his elbow. His elbow's right here. Notice how far down my elbow is. It's not on top of him, but it's below it. And then hands are here, not on the wrist. And you're pointing his fingers to the ceiling. And I'm pulling my elbow into my side to lock him into place. If he pushes, he puts it on. If he pulls, he puts it on. If he drops, he puts it on. Because think about him dropping. You've got a kodomawashi grip.
Yeah.
That's exactly what I'm doing when he drops to his knees.
And it's rolling into me, and it's turning into kodomawashi. I can feel it. You can't see it probably, but I can feel it.
Key thing. Push. Step back. to get into a pushing posture. Push forward so you have enough balance. When he falls, you step into his elbow. Come up on his knuckles. Not down here. Down here, John can take me easy. He can scoop, he can pull out, he can do whatever he wants to do. But if I have his knuckles controlled, I have a basic Kodomawashi grip. Okay? Turn on. I'm going to reach over and grab the back of his hand with my right hand. And to do that, I push my center behind the hand, and I step and I push. Okay? I keep pushing and move around him. Kodomawashi. Notice both hands are continuing to push. He takes a step, and I lock into place. But this time, I have two hands holding him, rather than just one. You think he was in trouble before?
Yeah. You know, the last one just kind of sucked. This one actually does really suck. Yeah.
The other one was kind of like, man, not that one.
Walking forward.
I'm going to grab his right arm. To do that, push my center behind both hands. I push out with both hands. My hand's going to go on the back of his hand. My palm to the back of his hand.
When I was trying to figure it, so I can walk around.
I continue to push shoulder level, and just like before, I move around his arm, but I continue to push. The Kodomawashi is coming on very strong right now.
Yep.
I keep on till he takes that step. Once he takes that step, I step into him. This hand's going to rotate to the bottom of his wrist. And this hand is on his knuckles. You think he was locked before? Push, pull, drop.
A tap.
Yes. The key is to push. Continue to push until the very last second. Then you step into your opponent. You do not pull your opponent into you. If I pull John, he's going to fall right on top of me. He's run right over me. If I'm pushing, he never has a chance to get to me. Because I keep his momentum outside of me. Okay?
God, I can't even bite him. The other one we were going, well, maybe I can bite you. Not on this one. You're way over.
Move. 2 side pushes. Tenchinagi, 2 hand. Yushiro Ate, spinning armbar. 1 hand wakigatami, 2 hand wakigatami. Okay. That's it for the pairs. Next move is Kotegaishi. And this causes more problems with people. Step right here on this line. He grabs my hand. I'm easier with the right hand or left hand throw? I'm going to throw you right hand.
Okay. So this side?
To throw the right hand, I'm going to push my center, or move my center behind my hands, and push out. And I want all 4 palms facing upward. All 4 palms facing upward. I'm going to lay his right hand inside my left hand. Just lay it there.
Can't keep it with it.
Okay, that's okay.
All right.
So from this point, all I have to do is step out. But the biggest problem is this. People don't see this as a push. You're still pushing even though your hands are palm up. if I try to curl my hands, John's going to come right on top of me. If he's strong, I try to curl my hands, he's not going to let me. But if I push my center to the side and I push shoulder level, it doesn't matter. One more time. Center behind the hands. Push out shoulder level. All four palms up. His hand, back of his hand into my palm.
Actually, right down the line.
I do have a question about that. When you took him out over here, it's kind of like a 45.
Right.
Do you throw it down the line or is it to the 45?
No. Watch this. When I take him out, where is he facing?
I'm facing that way,
When I throw him, where am I throwing?
to the corner. But it ends up coming, it's to the, what I was saying,
Two corners.
Keith, was, it was to the line when I started.
Original.
But it's broken corner and it's thrown corner. I just end up
You
on
take him one of his
This-
corners and then you take him to his other corner.
Right.
Yep.
Gotcha.
This relationship changes constantly. Okay? Depends on where his center is. Where's his corner now? Exactly. Where's his corner now?
Yeah.
Where's his corner now?
So, but for me, something goes wrong, I still want to throw him to his corner.
Where he is at that moment.
that instant in time.
That instant in time.
Yeah, the
Okay.
hole is right
I've
where
got
you're
two
standing.
corners. I've got this corner. I've got this corner.
Okay.
Okay?
Cool.
So try that. Move the center. Push. All four hands palm up. Just lay his hand in your palm. Now, key thing is to extending this so this is in his palm rather than on your wrist. So this hand has to be extended a little bit further than your right hand. Okay? I know what works and what doesn't. Sometimes I do this, sometimes I do this. And I have never done the technique like I've done in the gym. Never. He's always different, I'm always different. Circumstances are always different.
A little bit
So
more.
everything, oh, a hell of a lot more. So he determines what I do. But you've got to understand not only one little concept, but you've got to understand the broader thing.
I guess where I was coming from was not to change or refute or anything like that. I'm trying to see, okay, I'm trying to work on this push and incorporate it into
And
this.
you did it just perfect.
So it's the
Push, pivot your body.
So I just got to work on this part of the push more. It's not I'm going to change all the technique around. That's not what I'm looking for. I'm looking to see how you were pushing and pushing and pushing.
Exact same thing I just got done saying, yeah.
It's not
You're
I want
right
to
there
change
on
what's
the
being
edge.
taught in here. I'm just
Right.
like, okay, how's he getting this push? Still doing the same motion, but how's he doing that push? These guys tell me to do that, but now I'm trying to get that heel push instead of that finger curl.
So that-
A lot of times I do
Instead of
this.
Is that what you
Which
feel
Yeah.
like?
you're bringing your hands into your body.
Right, I do this a lot of times thinking I'm pushing, but I'm not. I'm actually should be
Pushing
pushing.
the heel of the hand out.
Okay, maybe.
Mike, could you do that one more time with Keith?
Almost
Just
certainly.
so that,
Kogure.
yes.
Push. Where? Why did it work one-handed? Because I'm pushing from my center and turning my center.
Okay, he said
I
I got
throw him with my
you
entire
can't
body
I can't see it.
rather than trying to throw him with my arm.
This is for the feeling, more feeling inclined people.
Yes, this is for the kinesthetic learners among us.
Here, Off balance. Here.
Oh, yeah.
Everybody
nothing
line up for that.
magical.
That's an e-ticket ride. That's cool.
It is nothing magical. I mean,
It's no damn magical, Mike. I'm sorry. It's like,
don't look at me like this. This is because I understand where my center is, and I understand pushing. I've been doing this for 35 years.
It doesn't
Think
happen.
about
It
it.
doesn't happen as
abbreviate
fast
a
as
little
you
bit. My
think
learning
it
for
does.
me, so.
It doesn't happen as fast as you think it does, Robert. But
Oh, it's not.
it's cool.
Because you don't think anything's happening until you're like right about here.
Step.
Exactly. The hook, yeah. It's like he's not really doing.
Yeah, but no, no. So we're gonna go off camera over here.
Move, Greg.
Cut.
You're too close.
Too close. So I get him out here,
Yes.
over here, and then you
See how he bent his arm?
Yeah.
If he bends his arm, he's not off balance. Come here, John. Watch John.
That's why you're
Here. John's arm is straight, my arm is straight.
Yes.
I take this, John's arm is straight, my arm is straight. I pivot.
Oh yeah. You never let me get it.
Get it.
I never let him return on balance.
Did you see that?
Yeah.
Yeah. It never. Where'd you go? But the only way I could get away from that, you told me this last time, is bring it here.
Exactly.
But you don't let me do that.
No.
You keep it out there,
You start to bring it in.
and I can't bring it in.
Uh-huh.
I don't get it back.
Now, you've got to notice that my center stays behind my hand. I don't pull my hand to my center. I pivot, everything turns together. Okay? Just like you did before. Yeah. Except we're static this time. Move your center behind your hand. Push out shoulder level. This time I'm feeding into his wrist. Here.
And you didn't go straight backwards.
No.
Two.
You kept off balance going to where you originally went.
Yes.
Yep.
Very, very slowly. Here. Break the balance. Okay. See him there? I get him to step. When he takes that step,
I'm
that's
still,
when I turn.
I'm still going to this
Yeah.
corner.
And look where his weight is.
Right foot.
Push, push. Okay. Level. Hand comes under the elbow, up, through his shoulder, Mayatoshi. You all right?
Yeah. I was kind of like.
You had that surprised look on
I
your
was like,
face.
where the hell? Oh, I better roll.
Your center behind your hand. Push him out off balance. Feed his right hand into your right. Push out shoulder level. This hand comes up on the elbow. Once you have him up, this hand slides up and then through his shoulder.
That one wasn't too busy watching it. Where's he going next?
Basic 17, but you're using your whole body behind it now. Okay? Now, if you're working with somebody and you're doing the 17 and you get to this point and you do this and then take 2 or 3 steps and do a break fall, you're training yourself wrong and you're training your partner wrong. Because you get out on the street, that's not going to happen. You've got to have the off balance. So focus on it here. Off balance. Get into a pushing posture with this hand. Hand was on the elbow. Push. Up. Push. John is not jumping for me.
No.
I am throwing him. There's a big difference. Mayatoshi, you push shoulder to shoulder. You don't push on his arm. You don't push down. You don't push away. This slides up, so his weight is forward on his toes, and then comes into his shoulder. And you're actually thinking about doing a break fall yourself. That's where the throw comes from. You stand up here and do this, he's going to walk away from you. But if you think, okay, I've got him, I'm going to do a break fall. He's on top of you, he's going to go before you do. Okay? So, grab your partner. Sumiotoshi.
I'll only attack people in the post office.
Thank your lucky stars that Carlo's not here. Sumiotoshi.
Oh, I thought we were on the other time. Yeah, I don't want to do the Carlos Sumi. Jeez.
Yes.
Doesn't she throw it from like a micron above the ground and expects you to spin underneath
And
it?
she whips it. Yes, it's taking a whip with both hands and going like that. And if you survive without your arm breaking, you will take the fall.
I watched her throw Roger with that door 4 times in about 2 minutes. And
Yep.
by the 3rd time, I was just laughing. Because he was going, how in the... Boom! And I'm like, oh! Can you do that again? Boom! Oh, that looked pretty good, Roger. How was
This
she
is
doing
Carla's.
it?
Everybody has their favorite throw. This is Carla's favorite throw, and she is good at it. Believe me, she is good at it. Anyway, I'm not quite as good, but this is the way I do it. Okay. You have to break their balance. So, before you're going to the side and everything, I want to throw to that back corner. In order to do that, I've got to break his balance to this front corner. And as soon as he takes that step, I immediately...
I like this.
He's a violent guy.
Obviously has not been thrown by Carla.
No. Well,
Hands are relaxed, but in a pushing posture. I step back to this corner to get him to step, and as soon as he does, this comes to his wrist, this comes to his elbow. Now this is the good way to throw. Carla will come up here and break your bone, but right here, you can do the fall without getting your arm broken. And it's with your body. Watch my center when I do this. It's here, and the center is there. I'm not doing this with the arms. You're in a pushing posture, and you're immediately back here. And it's all from here, not from here. One time, very, very slow. Pushing posture. Break the balance. When he takes that step, this hand comes over the top of the wrists. This hand comes to the elbow. And I take him to this back corner.
And it doesn't matter which foot he steps with it on.
I can take him to this side.
that was gonna be me.
Here.
That would have been very painful.
It works. It works. Here. So, this hand just slides up to the wrist. Other hand just goes to the elbow. corner to corner, corner to corner. And you do that not by pulling with your arms, because I'm going to pull him right on top of me and he's going to kill me. I don't throw by pushing with my arms because I don't have enough balance. Your center, center. Okay? This is a throw behind. Now, with my knees, I'm going to attempt it. We'll see what happens. If it doesn't work, I'll have to get somebody else up here. But since my left is my good knee, so to speak, we're going to go to the left. What I'm going to do is take you to this corner. I'm going to drop. It's kind of like Haygood touch. Now, in order to bring, I'm going to take him to this corner and throw. In order to do that, I've got to get to my center behind my hand. Right now, if I push that way, I'm fine. If I want to push that way, I have to get my center here. Now I come down this line, 45 degrees, and I swing back up and catch his knee. And let him do a break fall. You ready for this? We're going to go slow. Here. Move into position. Drop. And it's very similar throw to the kneeling part of san kata. You're doing the same cartwheel, the hand through the knee. And I apologize if it looks clumsy, but that's the best my knees will do.
JP and Keith. John,
Sure.
you've done that.
I think so.
Feel it, John?
I think so. Okay. I step in,
Uh-huh.
then I'm going to push here,
Drop to that back corner,
and then
not straight back, 45
that
degrees.
way.
Uh-huh.
Okay. Here.
And that,
And what do I do with this hand?
it just follows, it just hangs loose.
Okay. And then, okay. I was trying to hit the wrong way. Okay, so here's this. Push. Here.
Perfect.
You want it? Yeah.
Want to do it?
I want to get a rollout this time.
What?
I went straight through.
Turn around for the camera and do it the other side.
Okay.
There you go. Here we go. Think about where you want to go. So if I'm here, where am I going to throw? Where's my center in my hand?
Maybe put your center behind.
Right. Moving that way. So I want my center here. Rather than there. There you go.
Then you drop back, push.
Yes.
Nice. Sweet. That was much smoother.
That looked good. Do you understand what we're doing here? The throw is with the body drop. The throw is not with the arms.
Right.
If he grabs me and I'm trying to do this and just yank him off, I pull,
He comes right on.
he comes right on top of me. I'm here and I'm pushing, especially after you've done this for a while, and you understand where your center of gravity is. Bam! It comes off, and it just comes so fast. They have no idea what's going on. Okay. So if you practice this pushing posture, move your center behind your hand in the angle that you want to take it. So if my hand is here, I'm going to go to the side. I don't want that. I want 45 degrees. So I want my hand here, and then I go back down that line, 45 degrees. Okay? It's just a hip throw. Now, we go back to what we did with number one. We want to get into a pushing posture. In order to do that, I step back. Both hands continue to push. I want to put my hip in front of his hip. And to do that, I push his hands out to the side. And I step into his hip and turn. Yeah. Now it's awkward because it's very, very slow. I want you to see what's going on. So here, step back, pushing posture. I want to put my hip in front of his hip, and I want to keep pushing my hands straight. So here, and I turn. And it's a hip roll. That's all it is. Step back, hands straight, step into his hip, and just keep turning.
Bearing grip, kooky dookie.
Yep. Cool. Exactly. That's it. Grab your partner, try that.